Everyone get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, and welcome to another viewer spotlight. Today I'm looking at one that's been sent in to me by Bad Gene, who's actually a former SGTA member. He's actually platooned with a current SGTA member, Danny Boy over there, and another former SGTA member, Drogo. So they're in a platoon of KV-1s, and it's tier 5, it's Komarin, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. The KV-1 is a pretty good. It's a good tier 5 heavy to platoon in. In fact, it's probably one of the strongest, especially in this kind of matchup when you're top tier. You know, there are other good heavies at tier 5, but I think in a platoon, this particular tank wins out. Actually, while I remember to say, I'm trying something a bit different with this replay. I've got Gnomefather's historical gun sound mod installed, so let me know what you guys think of that. I'm rather enjoying it, but if it's too distracting for the majority of people, then I will just leave it on the regular the game sounds. So back to the game at hand. They've noticed that there is really no one going south at all, so given the fact that they are a top tier heavy platoon of KV-1s, it's actually, normally if you spot that situation, you don't want to go down there on yourself, you would stay defensive somewhere basically, but the fact that there's 3 of them, the fact that they're in a KV-1 platoon means that they can probably effectively tackle anything that comes that way, unless there is a massive rush from the south, which is sort of unusual. They've got a B1 with them as well, who might be able to give them some support, but we'll see. The B1 is not the most fantastic tank, which is unfortunate because in real life it was a heck of a lot better than it is in game, but it's one of these balance things basically. Once it's got its hull gun enabled, it could be a significantly more interesting machine than it is, but multi-gun support is a ways off yet. So they're just moving forward slowly. That Panzer 1C, you know, the enemy team knows they're there at this point, but that's the Panzer 1C down. And there's an M4. So there's stuff that's gotten round there already, basically. T28 down there. T28 is actually a bit of a threat, but he's not being very cautious. He's got a gun sufficient to hurt a KV-1. That 57mm gun at tier 4 is really nice, especially on a tank with a turret. There's a couple of tank destroyers that get the 57mm gun, but I don't know if there's any actual tanks that do outside the T28. It used to get a, it used to get an 85mm gun, which was very nice as well, but Wargaming decided to take that away. Oh, okay, enemy KV-1, this is bad. Bad Gene is actually out in the open right now, so he really does need to get to cover. I think if he'd gone for the house with the broken roof, if he'd this was obviously his original intent to get to this shed here, but I think if he'd gone to the house with the broken roof, that might have been the better plan. But he's here now. There's SU-85 behind that church somewhere, so he's going to be a bit wary about that, because he's side-scraping well against this KV-1, but the SU-85 could hit him potentially, and would have basically a perfect shot at his side armor. So the rest of the map, you know, the rest of the game isn't going so well. Oh, there's SU-85. That was quite a lucky bounce given the angle. Yeah, basically most of the rest of the team is dead. It's now 4-9. This is not going so well. That was unlucky. That, well, it's a snapshot, so it's always a risk that it won't go where you want it to. SU-85's fired, so he's going to pull out, and there we go. That was another bounce off his side armor. It's very nice. I will make this one criticism of Bad Gene's play here. He's using APCR, I think, when he doesn't really need to against some of these targets, certainly. Now it's now basically this platoon versus the whole rest of the enemy team. They've taken care of this flank, but there's still the enemy T1 heavy platoon to take care of. There's still a whole bunch of mediums, and there's a Hetzer, which depending on what gun that's got. But even so, I think Bad Gene uses a lot of APCR rounds unnecessarily here. But I guess, hey, it's his credits, so We know there's a Panzer IV behind them. That T-34, I'm not quite sure what they were thinking. I mean, I will say there's three of them they've absolutely done the right thing in sticking together, and the fact that we're now in this situation, if they were scattered across the map, their chances would be considerably lower. But the fact that they've stuck together has greatly improved their chances of actually carrying this through. Now, of all three of them, Badgene has lost the most health, but because he was side scraping there, because he managed to get to cover, he didn't actually lose any more once he got out of the open. So I think he's, in this situation it pays to be a bit more cautious, especially when you've got two platoon mates with more health than you. You want to stay back and keep your distance, and basically support your platoon mates at that point, because if you're charging in at the forefront, obviously if you die, your gun is out of the game and that's it. You're of no help to anyone. So, alright, there's one of the T1 heavies. The other one is actually on the island, so this was an enemy top tier heavy platoon. They didn't stick together. This is actually, well, you can see why sticking together is good, because that's one of them down. The other one is all the way over there on the island and wasn't able to support their platoon mate. So it's a matter of taking them out one by one, basically. And there's kind of an element of luck here, because a lot of the enemies are coming at this platoon one by one. And that is, yeah, this is now looking quite doable now those T1 heavies are out of the way. If this comes off, it's going to be brothers in arms and a crucial contribution if it comes off and all three of them survive. So now they've got a choice. If they rush away from the cap, if they go hunting for the enemies, all three of them, there's a chance they could be capped out. There's a chance they could lose that way. Oh, there's an enemy B1. Well, he's not really much of a threat. And Drogo got that guy. And there's the enemy Panzer IV that we know was lurking in the back all that time. They were last seen in K1. They really, yeah, they missed quite a lot of opportunities to actually do something there. And there's the enemy Su-26, I think rather ineffectually trying to... if it had been ye olden days and the Su-26 had the 122mm howitzer, this could have been a different story maybe, because that gun, for a tier 3 arty, that gun really packed a punch. But it's a pop gun these days. Oh, actually, maybe it was this Hetzer all along. And you see there, even APCR will bounce off a Hetzer's front armor. So, yeah, always bear that in mind. The way normalization works, your gold ammo is actually more likely to bounce off if the armor is sufficiently angled, or if you hit it at a... but basically, APCR rounds, what I'm trying to say here is no normalization occurs. So you can actually end up bouncing gold shells that you would think would go through, and that's obviously what happened in that case. So that's the Het, so that's probably the last remaining big threat. They just need to take him out now. He's a one-shot kill. Being a tier 4 tank destroyers in this situation is kind of unenviable. And it's just one lonely little Samua left now, apart from Artie. He's actually got 2 kills, so they've been playing okay, but this is a really unenviable position for that player. 3 KV-1s left, and yeah, the Samua doesn't have much armor. I think that guy's got to figure he's screwed at this point. So the other 2 are now moving out from the cap. They're going to go looking, because there's a chance they could all 3 sit by the cap, and there's a good chance that this would be a draw, because the enemies would fair enough want to stay alive, but it pays for someone at least to stay behind, and that's what Badgene's doing, whilst the other 2 actually move off down the middle there. So they've got a good chance of... splitting up the forces at this point is not a totally stupid idea, because like I've said, you don't want to... even with 2 enemies, there's still a chance they could sneak through and cap, maybe. And the KV-1's not the fastest machine, so let's say they're on the other side of the map. and they're not near the enemy cap circle, and can't all three of them get on the cap in time. There's still an outside chance they could lose to this, but it's only an outside chance at this stage. But especially as Bajin has stayed behind, I think they've probably got this in the bag at this point. Yes, they had very, very favourable circumstances being top tier KV-1 platoon, and yes, the enemies came at them one by one, but still, they all three of them did the smart thing in sticking together. And like I said, I think, well, you'll see at the end with Bajin's how much profit he makes. You know, it's possible he just forgot he had APCR loaded here. That can happen in heat of battle. You end up wasting it on targets that don't need it. But it's, you know, if you wanna shoot those shells, then you can do. But you'll see at the end there, Bajin didn't walk away from this with many credits, despite the result. So there's that Samua. Bajin was actually, oh yeah, on the move shot. It's probably not going to work with the KV-1. He decided to have a look down this way, I guess because the other two hadn't spotted anything. And it's close enough to the cap that he could have got back. But anyway, there's that Samua down. That really didn't need APCR ammo, that Samua. That was, to say the least, overkill. But it's now just SU-26 left, so we have a fair idea where that guy's going to be. It'll be Drogo or Danny Boy that will get the kill. There he is. We'll see who nails that last tank. And it's Drogo. So there we go. That is quite a nice result. That's a crucial contribution. That is top gun for Bajin. He got didn't actually get the best score because Drogo, despite having less damage done, he actually got over 1k spotting damage. That's why Drogo has the top score there. But yeah, a crucial contribution, brothers in arms, and Bajin also got sniper alongside his top gun. Despite he flubbed a few shots there, but most of them hit. You know, 24 hits out of 28 shots fired. That's pretty good going. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty decent match, and it could have been very different. You know, getting in that situation where you're getting to 3 versus 10, even in a KV-1 platoon, that could have been very, very different. But with a bit of luck and some smart play there, all three of them pulled it off, and they got a very nice result at the end of it because of that. I know I put up a KV-1 replay not that long ago, and normally I don't follow replays with replaying the same tank, but this one was such a nice result that I thought I'd break my own rule, because hey, it's my channel after all. And yeah, I guess that means I get to be in charge a bit, maybe, apart from that damn caption guy. I'll find him one of these days. You mark my words, I'll find him. Anyway, if you enjoyed this replay, you can hit the like button, you can leave a comment, you can subscribe to my channel, you can go check out the SGTA forums if you think that might be interesting to you. And as always, stay tuned for more.